Welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Somesh Simran. Now we are discussing about the X-rays. X-rays are the electromagnetic radiation of wavelength ranging from 0.01 nanometer to the 10 nanometer. X-rays are invisible to human eyes. Also, their energy is 1000 times greater than the energy of the visible photon of visible lights. Now, this is a basic X-ray tube. This is also known as the Coolidge tube. Here it consists of a anode and cathode. It can be a filament like tungsten. Here this voltage is applied to this cathode for the heating of this cathode. If this cathode is heated, then there is a emission of electrons by the this process is known as thermionic emission. Then this emitted electrons before this voltage is applied to this cathode tube. This voltage makes a large potential difference between anode and cathode. This emitted electrons get the sufficient kinetic energy from this potential difference and accelerated towards the material are used as anode. Anodes are first platinum, second tantalum, third molybdenum, fourth tungsten, This anode material must have the highest atomic number, also highest melting point, also highest thermal conductivity, because when these electrons are strike on this anode, then there is producing a heat inside this anode. For this purpose, for control the temperature of this anode, there is a outer system also here for cooling this anode. Hence, it is also called as the Coolidge tube. Now this accelerated electron when strikes on this anode, then X-rays are produced. X-rays are produced by two phenomena. First, deceleration of electrons in the metal anode or target anode. First, deceleration of electrons in the target anode. Okay, that is, if the electrons here, it is an incident electron or accelerated electrons when moves towards a target nucleus. That is, a target nucleus is the heavy nucleus of the atoms of this anode, inside this anode. If this electron goes from this heavy nucleus, then it's having the more highest positive charge and electron having negative charge. Due to this, the motion of the electron are slower down, and kinetic energy of the electron here must be less. If this is the initial kinetic energy, then it's a final kinetic energy. There is a change in kinetic energy due to this is because here is a Coulombic potential or Coulombic force of attraction. between this target nucleus and these electrons. Due to this, when these electrons are moved, these electrons are goes towards this target nucleus, then it slow down. Here it is a slow down, and its kinetic energy are converted into the photons. These photons are known as bremsstrahlung. This photon is known as bremsstrahlung photon. Imagine that if a moving electron having its kinetic energy, highest kinetic energy, and it suddenly stops, then its kinetic energy are converted into the photons. This photon having energy E is equals to h mu. E is equals to h mu. Here, but E is equals to h mu equals to electron volt, because its initial kinetic energy is due to this applied potential, and when it suddenly stops, then its all energy are converted into the photons. Hence, this photon of energy equals to this initial kinetic energy, and its initial kinetic energy is K equals to 1/2 mv square equals to the electron volt. E is the electronic charge, V is the applied potential. Now in this case, all of its kinetic energy are not converted into the photons. Some of energy are converted into the vibrational energy, because when these electrons are strikes on the atoms, then its sum of energy are undergoes the vibration of atoms, and other remaining energy are converted into the photons. If this photon also having energy equals to change in this kinetic energy, that is E equals to initial kinetic energy K minus final kinetic energy K dash. Okay, this kinetic energy, this photon having energy equals to K minus K dash. If we consider all of its kinetic energy are converted into this photon, then K dash becomes 0, because all the kinetic energy of electrons are converted into the photons. At this time there is no K dash here, because all kinetic energy are converted into these photons. E equals to K, and K equivalents to electron volt, because this initial kinetic energy is due to this applied potential, because this electron gains the kinetic energy from this applied voltage by this relationship. Understand? Now if we plot intensity of X-rays with respect to wavelength, graph for tungsten are used as a target anode. Intensity versus wavelength. Point 2, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.8, 1.0. Okay, if we plot the radiated X-ray intensity versus wavelength of this particular intensity. First of all, this wavelength can be calculated as h mu upon E, and E is equivalent to electron volt. H mu upon electron volt. The wavelength of radiated X-rays can be calculated as or by this formula. Now the intensity versus wavelength, then we observe that this curve is for the 20 kilo electron volt potential. It is 30 kilo electron volt potential, 40 kilo electron volt potential, and 50. This is a applied potential, this for the X-ray tube. Here we observe that if we increase the applied potential, then X-ray of having highest energy or these curve are shifted towards the lowest wavelength side. That is, if we increase the applied voltage, then we get the higher energy X-rays. Here a second thing we can also observe that this is a cutoff values for different potentials. If for the 20 kilo electron volt, this is a cutoff value for the wavelength. This is a cutoff value for the wavelength. Below this, there is no possible wavelength or there are no possible X-rays below this cutoff range, because at the certain potential, there is a limit for the production of highest energy X-rays. This limit is this, that is the lambda minimum means the highest energy X-rays. This is equals to h mu upon this electron volt, because for the lambda minimum we can consider all the kinetic energy are converted into the photons, that is this K. Lambda minimum value can be calculated as h mu upon electron volt. Here we can take problems on the basis of lambda minimum. Find the short wavelength limit. Find this short wavelength limit if the applied potential equal to applied potential is 15 kilo electron volt, and the value for the lambda minimum is different for different potential. I am also telling if we apply the highest potential energy, then these lambda minimum are shifted below towards the minimum wavelength side. For this, we know that lambda minimum equals to h mu upon electron volt. Therefore, lambda minimum equals to 6.626 into 10 raised to minus 34 joule second into 2.9979 into 10 raised to 8 मीटर पर सेकंड divided by 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb into this potential 50,000 volt. This is equal to lambda minimum value R as 0.0248 nanometer. Second problem is to find the Planck's constant, and here we have the other values. Determine the Planck's constant H. Planck's constant, if applied potential V equals to 14 kilo electron volt and lambda minimum equals to 3.11 into 10 raised to minus 11 meter. Then we can calculate H as electron volt into lambda minimum divided by C. This equals to 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. Potential equal to 40,000 volt into lambda minimum 3.11 into 10 raised to minus 11 divided by 2.9979 into 10 raised to minus 10 raised to plus 8 meter per second. This value, if we calculate this, we get the Planck's constant 6.64 into 10 raised to minus 34 joule second. Here also we observe that this curve for the particular potential are continuous. This nature is a continuous nature. Hence, this spectrum of X-ray are known as the continuous spectrum. This spectrum are also known as Bremsstrahlung spectrum because it is from the Bremsstrahlung photons. Bremsstrahlung word is a German word. Brems means breaking or deacceleration. And Strahlung means radiation. This is a German word. There is also second phenomenon of producing the X-rays. This phenomenon is here. This is a continuous nature of this curve, hence it is known as the continuous spectrum or Bremsstrahlung spectrum because of due to the Bremsstrahlung photons. Bremsstrahlung photon, that is the photon produced by the acceleration of electron when it goes slightly near from the heavily target nucleus, and its energy are converted into its kinetic energy are converted into the photon energy, and the wavelength of these X-rays can be determined by using this formula, and also energy equals to electron volt. Energy of these X-rays equal to electron volt. V is the applied potential, E is the electronic charge. Electron volt is a kinetic energy, 1/2 mv square of kinetic energy of this electron, and this is the applied voltage, electronic charge. Second phenomenon of producing X-ray is the excitation of inner shell electron. Core electrons or inner shell electrons of the atoms of this target anode. That is, if we consider a atom, this is a nucleus, this is a K shell, this is L shell, K shell, L shell, M shell, N shell. If these accelerated electrons are collide on these electrons, then these electrons are knocked out from its shell or ejected. This is an incident accelerated electron. Incident electron. This is ejected electron. These incident electrons are collide or there is a collision here. Due to this collision, these electrons are knocked out from their shells and it is ejected, and due to this here a hole is produced or vacancy is generated here. This outer shell electron or electrons from L, M, N, O, P shells are dropped into this vacancy, or these electrons trying to occupy this hole or this vacancy. In this process, this electron lost their energy, and this energy are converted into the photon. When these electrons are dropped into this vacancy, then at this time these electrons lost their energy, and this energy are converted in the form of photons. And this photon having a specific energy and specific wavelength depends upon the energy difference between K shell, L shell. This photon having energy E is equals to h mu. This is a specific energy, and its photon having a specific wavelength also. In this phenomenon, there is a many transitions are happens, and this transition produces a different spectral lines. These spectral lines having a different components, and it forms a different series also. I am trying to draw here energy level diagram of these transitions. To 3 level, n equals to 4, n equals to 5, n equals to 6, and like that. Here this is a L shell, sorry, K shell, L shell, M shell, N, O, P, and like that. If we assume that there is a vacancy created inside the K shell, then the L shell electrons are dropped into this vacancy. That is, there is a transition from L to K. Also, the electrons from M, N, O, P are also make a transition in the K shell. These are the different components of the spectral line. If there is a transition between transition from L to K, this component are known as K alpha line. This component is known as K beta line, K gamma line, K delta line, K G line. Also, if the vacancy are created in this L shell, then there is also transition in the L shell from M, N, O, P shells. This is a L alpha line, L beta line, L gamma line, L delta line, or components. Similarly, like that, in transition in N shells, that is also a transition between transition in N shell. This series is known as K series. This series of spectral component known as K series. This series of these spectral components are known as L series. this known as M series. N series. Okay. These are the different spectral lines are possible in this phenomenon. These are the different specific spectral lines are produced by the excitation of core shell electrons. Hence, this spectra contains a different spectral lines. Hence, it is known as the characteristic spectrum. Okay. Characteristic spectrum consists of different spectral lines. If we plot the intensity versus a wavelength graph for this characteristic spectrum, we can observe that the curve of this graph is like that. This is a particular for the transition from L to K. This graph for these transitions. Here we can observe that there is a sharp peak here due to the particular transition. Here this is a particular wavelength of the particular component. Here the wavelength of the K alpha line is less than the wavelength of K beta line, because the wavelength relation h mu upon E is inversely proportional to the energy difference daily. If this energy difference is higher, then wavelength is minimum. Here K alpha line has energy difference daily less than the energy difference of K beta line. K beta line having highest energy difference. K beta line having highest energy difference, hence its wavelength is minimum than K alpha line. Here K alpha line has the energy difference is less than the K beta line. That is, if the energy difference is less, then wavelength is greater, wavelength is more. This sharp peak are indicating the particular spectral lines. The energy of this particular component can be determined as energy of K alpha line can be calculated as h mu upon this energy difference Ek minus El. Also, we can calculate the energy of various component. Energy of K beta line can be calculated as h mu upon Ek minus Em. Like that, we can calculate the energy of the different components. So we can already studied the characteristic spectrum as well as the continuous spectrum and intensity versus wavelength relationships. Now we can study about the absorption of X-rays. This spectrum consists of sharp lines, hence it is known as the characteristic spectrum. Absorption of X-rays. If if the X-rays are passing through a certain sample or material having a specific thickness, then there is a relationship here. If this is a specific material or sample having thickness X, if these are the incident X-rays and these are the transmitted X-rays, some of the X-rays are absorbed by this sample. This incident X-rays I naught and this is transmitted X-rays I. There is a relationship between incident X-rays and transmitted X-rays, that is transmitted X-rays I equals to I naught e raised to minus mu x, where I naught is a incident X-rays I is transmitted X-rays. Mu is mass absorption coefficient. And X is width of sample. Every material having the mass absorption coefficient, that is the ability of absorption of electromagnetic radiations. This is a relationship between incident and transmitted X-rays. If the question is like that, if the transmitted X-rays are half of its initial X-rays, then find out the thickness, and mass absorption coefficient is given for the particular sample. Then in this condition we can calculate the width of the sample as, here condition is that the I equals to I naught by 2. I equals to I naught by 2. Then put this I naught by 2 in this formula. We can write as I naught e raised to minus mu x, mu half. We can find out half width as, here I naught get cancelled, half e raised to minus mu x half. This is also can be written as 2 equals to e raised to mu x by 2. Taking ln on both sides, we can write as mu x 1 half equals to ln of 2. This implies x half is L into upon mu. This is a formula for width of sample when the refracted intensity is equal to the half of incident intensity. Okay, remember this formula here, and this width is also known as the half width. The sample like lead, having highest absorption coefficient mu, that is the sample lead absorbs the maximum X-rays, and the medium air having lowest mass absorption coefficient, and it absorbs as possible as lowest X-rays, because in the air the atoms are randomly oriented, and there is large interatomic distance is also there. Hence air having lowest mass absorption coefficient. Thanks for watching my video. I make another video on Moseley's law and other topics related to the X-rays. Thank you so much.